playfully mocked him during our lovemaking about his size. He got shocked, left, and then did this. I was going to live the perfect dream life, but my small mistake changed everything, and now I'm homeless. Help me, guys. Hi, Reddit guys. I am 30 years old, and I'm here to tell you my story since I don't have the courage to tell it out loud to the people I know. I am sure they will judge me as they must be doing already, and I am sure that you all will do the same, but maybe you will also understand, and of course, being judged by the people you love does hurt more than being judged by someone you don't know. So yeah, here I am, to be honest, 100%. I am open to any advice you may have, guys, because I am also in need of some advice and support. So let's start from the beginning. When I was 25 years old, I met my fiancé, or better, I will say my ex-fiancé. We used to go to the same gym. In fact, he helped me a lot during that time to reach the goals I wanted to reach regarding my body. So I was a little overweight, as I always had a sweet tooth, and I needed to start going to the gym. I chose the one that was the nearest to my apartment. The first day was a total struggle because I lacked motivation, and also because my body was not used to that kind of routine. Here is some advice. Go to the gym, guys. This is out of the subject of this story, but please go to the gym because your body and mind need it. So yeah, the first week was really hard. However, I had decided not to quit because I am the kind of person who doesn't give up on things. The second week, I noticed a guy watching me all the time. He was working out, but also looking at me. Let me tell you, his body was so hot and so masculine. The second week at the gym, I saw him every day working out, and he used to watch me too, but we said hi and nothing else at all. I continued watching him until one day he came near me while I was doing an abs exercise, and he told me he wanted to help me because I was doing the whole exercise wrong, and my abs were not being trained. I smiled, and I told him that it was really nice of him. I told him I had never trained before, and I had no idea what I was doing. But one thing I knew, I wanted to lose weight. He told me my body was amazing the way it was. The compliment I needed to hear at that time. However, there was nothing wrong with my body training. It always helps not just our body, but also our mind. Well, then he introduced himself. His name was Liam, and he was 27 years old. I also introduced myself to him. He was not just hot, he was also very handsome. He was tall and had black hair and green eyes. I fell in love with his eyes since that day he came near me and offered to help me. Liam told me he was working as a human resources manager. He also told me that gym was a big passion of his. There wasn't a day that he would skip gym. Since I met him, I never skipped gym either. I went there every day because I wanted to see him. Even if I didn't know him completely yet, I wanted to know more about him and his life. I really wanted to be a part of his life. So yeah, days passed by, and my life was divided into work and gym. Me and Liam were friends, and day by day we were spending most of the time together. However, I saw the way he looked at me. We were just friends, but deep inside we knew we were more than that. During this time, we used to take coffee or a drink together sometimes, but again, just like normal friends do. We have already talked about almost everything in our lives. For example, he told me that his parents were divorced, and he had a sister who lived near him. He told me he loved her the most because she had always been there for him. I also told him I had a brother and sister. My parents lived in the same city that we lived in, but I had chosen to live alone because I needed my privacy. My privacy was everything to me. That is the reason I prefer to live alone. Things continued to be the same for a while. We met each other every day, or almost every day. We kept going out for a coffee or drink as friends and nothing new. Until the day that I woke up and I found his message on my phone where he told me if it was okay for us to skip gym that day and just do a picnic in nature. He would take care of everything. I just had to participate. That was perfect. I told him that I would love to do that because I love nature and food, and I also enjoyed his company. We agreed that he would pick me up and we would go to a park where there was a lake too. I sent him my address and that was it. I thought about it as a date. Since it was Saturday, we were not working, so we were going there as soon as we got ready. I woke up, had my morning coffee and breakfast, and I took a shower. I was thinking of the perfect outfit for a picnic, and finally I decided to wear a floral vintage pink dress. It was quite a good date, guys. We had a very nice time together. The weather was perfect, and we talked about our lives in many aspects. That day, I also told him about my previous relationship, which was the longest. I was with this boy for 3 years, and I thought I loved him, and he loved me. We were also planning to get married, but he cheated on me with his colleague. I caught them when I made a surprise visit to his office. It was difficult for me to trust a man after what I went through, but with him, I wanted to try. He also had had a long relationship, which ended because his ex-girlfriend was not sure if she loved him, and she one day just left. No communication, no call, and no text messages. She just left. Well, they say everything happens for a reason. Maybe we were meant to find each other, or at least I hoped so. While talking, when I was talking about my ex-boyfriend, he hugged me. Later, we kissed. I felt so at peace with him, like everything in the world had fallen into place. I know you all are thinking now that it was just the first date and I needed to take my time, or maybe that was not love. But I am just saying what I felt at the moment, and I thought I was in love with him. After the first date, he took me home and made sure I was all right. He also asked me if I needed anything and then gave me a kiss on my lips, then a kiss on my neck, and he went away. I went home and lied on my couch. I was happy, and I was thankful for everything. After a long time, I felt like I could trust someone and have a serious relationship again. He seemed really trustworthy, and I was so attracted to him, it was insane. We went on many dates after that. He told me he wanted to take our relationship slow, and that's what we did. We took our time and got to know each other really well. Everything was going great between us guys. We had great communication, great vibes, spent a lot of time with each other, and had great sex. Our relationship was amazing, and I loved him each day more. We were practically spending all the nights together, in his apartment mostly. Then he asked me to move on to his apartment, so we started living together. Also, I need to mention that I had met his parents and he had met mine. We had been together for a year before we started living together. To be honest, since we were so much in love, I was waiting for him to propose, which came a month after we started living together. Liam took me to dinner at a restaurant, which I loved the most. It was again up on a hill, but the view was the sea. We saw the sunset and ate dinner together. I really was not expecting him to propose to me that night. When we reached the end of the dinner, he started making this great speech. He told me that I was a blessing in his life, and he had never loved someone like me before. Liam said that he wanted me to be in his life forever. Then he asked if I would marry him. Of course I said yes because I loved him, and I had been thinking about this day for a long time. He was the love of my life. I was the happiest woman alive, and that night was the happiest night of my life. After that night, each one of us talked to our families and let them know that we wanted to get married. They were all very happy about us and wanted us to be happy. But after getting engaged, things started changing. Liam got involved more into his work as he was due for a promotion. Since he was in human resources, he spent a lot of time outside work socializing with other people. I understood that he did that to have good social connections, but I started feeling really lonely at home. He started going out more with his friends and less with me. He never took me with him while on those nights out, and to be honest, I was starting to get jealous. He was very handsome, had a great career, and he was so hot. So we started fighting more and more every day. Remember I told you that sex was great and very passionate? Well, lately it wasn't anymore. Every day we fought, he slept on the couch, and we barely made love. We had become 2 roommates instead of a newly engaged couple. One day I decided I would talk to him and let him know how I was feeling. I thought of having a proper conversation with him about how I felt like there was nothing for me to do, and I got bored since I left my job. Oh yes, I'm switching jobs. I have completed my notice period in my old workplace and am looking for better work opportunities. But before I could to Liam, I got a better idea. I was watching those reels on social media when I saw this woman sharing how she never got satisfied in bed with one man, so she got in an open relationship and was much happier. At first it looked insane, but then the more I thought about it, it seemed like a good idea. Most of our relationship problems were due to the fact that me and Liam didn't spend much time together, and that I was bored. I thought that if I find a way to pass my time, all our problems will be gone and we'll be happy together. I know you all are judging me, but at that time, it seemed like a really good idea. I wanted Liam to be my husband. I wanted everyone to see us together. But what happened behind closed doors wasn't anyone's business. With my new plan set in my head, I downloaded Tinder. I thought there was nothing wrong in exploring till we got married. I set up a profile and started checking out the guys in there. It had been so long since I used any dating app that I got overwhelmed for a bit. There were so many hot guys. I even swiped right on a few, and they swiped right on me as well, so we became a match. One of the guys I started talking to was Nate. Nate was really good looking, like a jock, built and worked in finance. After our usual chit-chat, I was in too deep to back out. One part of my brain was telling me that it was wrong, but I just wanted more of him. I wanted to know the experience of talking to other men too, and I thought it was the perfect way since Liam would never find out about this activity. Our conversation started getting more intense within 2 hours. I'm a bit ashamed to admit this, guys, but I started sexting with Nate. When he asked me for pictures saying he couldn't wait, it broke all my resolve and I sent him my pictures, you know what kind. Nate then replied with his own pictures, and guys, oh my God. I was so shocked. I had only been with 2 men in my whole life, so I had no idea that sizes could be so big. But I was so impressed with Nate that I kept asking him for more pictures. I talked to Nate that day really late. I was so engrossed in our conversation that I didn't even notice Liam coming home. That day, after so long, I finally welcomed him home with a happy face instead of my usual complaints of being late. He even noticed the change in my behavior and asked me what's making me so happy. I just shrugged and told him that I was happy he was home. I hugged him and told him I loved him, so we made peace, and he took me to our bed. It had been so long since we were doing it, but for some reason, he wasn't making me happy like he used to. I kept thinking about Nate and his big size. In the middle of it, while I'm sure Liam was trying his best to make me happy like always, I just wasn't feeling it, so instead of continuing, I just made a lighthearted remark about his size. I just said something that I wished he was a bit bigger or something. I think it was the wine I had that evening that made me so courageous or stupid. I still remember his face as soon as the words left my mouth. I realized that I had effed up, but it was a bit too late. I tried to cover it up by laughing and telling him that I was just joking. I loved him and we had great sex, but I could sense that my joke had hurt his ego. He got up from the bed, got dressed, and left. I was still berating myself for saying something so stupid, but then I also felt angry at Liam. We had good sex, so how could he be so angry for a joke like that? I would not be with him if I didn't like him. It was really late at night when he got out of his apartment, so I tried calling him and leaving him messages or sending text messages, but he didn't reply. I started using my phone then. I saw that Nate was still online, so I texted him a bit and then I got to sleep, and when I woke up in the morning, Liam had not come back home yet. I was very sad and angry. How could he do that to me? However, there was nothing I could do, so I just got ready and went for another round of job interviews. When I was waiting for my turn, I tried again to call him, but his phone was turned off, so I decided to let it go. I thought when I would get home, I would talk to him and explain that I was just joking. But when I got home, I got another shock waiting for me. All my stuff was packed out of the door of his apartment. I tried getting in by using my keys, but had changed the lock of the door. How could he do that? I mean, that really was a hard joke for a man, but I didn't think that it would be a reason for us to break up and for him to do this to me. Change the locker on the door? Was I some stranger he did not know? He knew me very well, and he knew that I was joking, so I did not understand why he did this. I was still trying to get in when the watchman of the building came in and gave me a note. It said, "Have fun with Nate and his big size P ******. We're done." I was so confused. How did he know about Nate? I literally talked to him only once, and that too just the previous day. I wanted to ask him, but he wasn't there, and the worst of all, I was left alone because I did not have any apartment or place to go anymore. After a 1.5 years of being together, he left and got me out of his apartment just for a joke I made while we were making love. That was not right, but I had to continue and find an apartment for myself. I didn't even have a job for crying out loud. When I was quitting my last job, he told me to quit and look for something better if I wasn't happy there, and that he was there to take care of me, and now he just left me like that. That night, I went to my best friend's apartment because I could not go to my parents' home since they would continue asking me about what happened between us, and I didn't want to explain everything. Nothing made sense. So yeah, I took my stuff and went to my best friend's apartment. It was easier for me to explain things to her. I tried calling Liam again when I was at my friend's apartment, but his phone was again turned off. I did not understand what was going on. Maybe he had changed his phone number as well. He didn't want me to contact him anymore. He just wanted me to get out of his life. But it was not right to do this to me. He had to be honest and say it in my face that he did not love me, because I think that no one leaves the person they love for a nonsense mistake like the one I made. It was wrong of me to compare his size with another man, but what was done was done. Instead of letting it go, he was making such a big deal out of it. I'm still finding a job and thinking about how to let my family know that the wedding is off. So guys, please let me know what you think. Was my joke such a big mistake? I am open to any advice. Maybe some of you will even judge me, but I thought I had the confidence to make jokes about anything with my fiancé, since he was the nearest person for me and the most important one. He was the one I was planning to spend my life with. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to read my story. Love. A update. Hello Reddit guys, it's me again. I am here because many of you asked me for an update. I knew you would call me out on downloading the dating app. But guys, I'm not perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and so did I. You don't have to be so mean about it. So after reading your comments, I decided to visit him at his work. He was really shocked when he saw me there. Liam was with a girl in his office, and they seemed very close. I asked him if I could talk to him, and he told the girl to wait for him outside. I sat down, and I just asked him to forgive me and give me one more chance. Even though I didn't want to bring up the topic of Nate, I asked him how he knew. He laughed. He said I was a fool if I thought he wouldn't find out if I'll talk to other guys. Apparently, my email was open on his laptop, and he saw the mail from the dating app. Then he checked my phone and saw all my conversations with Nate. I can't believe I was so dumb about it. He also informed my parents that the wedding is off and that I sent naked pictures to other guys online. I couldn't believe him. He knew that my father was so strict, he would disown me if he got to know the truth. I asked him why he did that. He told me I deserved everything because I tried to make him feel like he was not enough, man. My tears ran out of my eyes, and I could not be strong enough to hold them. I told him he knew me. He knew I was joking. Then he told me that someone can't make these jokes with a man. It was not right. I told him I loved him the most. And finally I told him that he was the one that did not deserve me. And then I left. I made a mistake, and I am aware of it. But my mistake is not a reason to take revenge like that and destroy everything. No. He crossed all lines by calling my dad when I didn't even cheat on him. It was just a stupid mistake, and he made me suffer so much because of it. After that day, like I had guessed, my dad stopped talking to me and even told my mom and my siblings to not speak to me, as according to him, I brought shame to family name. He said that Liam did the right thing by leaving me. He also stopped everyone from helping me, guys. How is any of it fair? I was always loyal to Liam. One mistake cannot undo everything else. I also deleted my Tinder because every time I saw it, it gave me a bitter reminder of what I could have had and lost. I was supposed to become a bride in a few days' time, and instead, now I'm homeless and unemployed, and no one wants anything to do with me. I'm still living on savings, which is basically pennies in this economy. I'm trying to find a decent studio apartment, but no such luck so far. Someone suggested that I live in a hostel. Maybe I'll take that option, even though I always liked living alone, but beggars can't be choosers. So I'll take whatever I can get. That's all from me, guys. I just want to say to everyone, thank you for reading my story and for supporting and advising me. Let's hope I find a good job and a place to live. Goodbye and much love, AJ.